Now, your forecast from Fox 56 News, the weather authority.
All right, good morning, everybody. We have just seen a new severe thunderstorm warning issued for part of our coverage area. That includes parts of Mercer County and Boyle County. That goes until 7:15 this morning. It's for this area of storms, little line that's kind of embedded within this entire area of moderate to heavier rain that continues to spin east thanks to an upper level low, or an area of low pressure, I should say, that's working eastbound. Let me look inside of this storm real quick, though, because we've seen all morning back off to the west that this storm has had the capability of producing a little rotation on the backside of that. If we zoom in a little bit closer here, you can see on the western kind of flank of this coming out of, again, Mercer County. This is actually Washington County. That you can see a little bit of rotation here. Now they put a tornado tag on that, so we're going to watch that closely. If you live in Mercer and also into the western part of Boyle County, this is spinning and racing off to the northeast. Now let's move on, though, and talk about what we're dealing with elsewhere. Look at all this rain. Heavy rain, Berea. Most of us are just socked in the morning rain. Unfortunate for a morning drive, that's for sure. Here in Liberty, heavier rain is just east. Stanford, same story. Back down to Russell Springs, looking at rain. But there are pockets of some drier weather as we move into eastern Kentucky. You see here over toward Jackson and then working our way into Prestonsburg. Maybe some drizzle there. West Liberty dry for now. But again, all of this rain and storm activity is moving eastbound. So this takes us out over the next couple of hours. The solid shield of rain, once that moves out, behind it, we're going to wrap in still some scattered showers and storms likely behind that. All right, talking home view perspective. Look at the wet roads this morning. Somerset is still one of the drier areas. When you look at our other three cameras, Richmond, Paris, and Lexington, we are just socked in the rain, okay? Moving on and talking about the wide view. See this low pressure racing east here. That continues to race east, and it definitely is going to be keeping some showers and thunderstorms in the forecast as we go throughout the day. Let me step off here. It looks like, do we have a new warning here? Just popped in. Let me step off and we'll go in back to the live radar. Yeah, they upgraded that just in the latest scan. Okay, so we're going to have to stick with this here. We now have a tornado warning with this storm that's back off coming out of Washington County, the one I was just looking at here. And as it continues to work east, it's going to be heading toward Perryville and then from there over into the southwestern corner of, again, Mercer County. So let's look inside the thunderstorm. I did this just a moment ago. You can see on the velocity, see this couplet right there, definitely some tighter circulation showing up. It's still back off to the west here into the eastern portion of Washington County. So here's Springfield, here's Lebanon. Here is in the eastern corner of, again, Washington County. So we're going to zoom in even tighter. This is actually going more off to the east-northeast. So on that path, that's going to be heading right along the county line of this is Mercer and this is Boyle County. If I can come in and give you kind of some smaller communities, Deep Creek, Perryville, Dixville, Nevada. All of these communities need to be down in your safe place right now. Lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from windows until we obviously give you the all clear. We don't have any confirmation. All right, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that tornado that went across southern Kentucky. Right now, we don't have a confirmation that this is on the ground, but definitely looking inside the thunderstorm here, that couplet has really tightened up near Pottsville and just north of there. There's the latest rotation detector. We went from weak up to some strong rotation right there, lining up where I have it circled. And I'll go back to the normal velocity view here one more time. And you see, wow, that is really tightened up. Okay, everybody for sure in the southern part of Mercer County. That includes Deep Creek, Dixville, Nevada. I even want people as far north here as Harrodsburg in your lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from windows. Also, Perryville. I want to step off just for a second so I can loop this, because I want to give you the best indication of exactly where this is moving. All right, it is moving more east-northeast. So let me take this back. See how it's spinning. It's wrapping up as this low pressure races east. And look how the circulation has tightened. You see how we go from hardly any green and red next to each other to the current radar view. Look at that. More reds and even some blues that are on top of each other. Let me look inside the thunderstorm. This product we used a lot when we were dealing with the southern Kentucky tornado that went through Somerset and that went obviously through the London area. I'm going to be watching this potentially. I want to step this back. This potentially could be a drop in CC and maybe a tornado debris signature. And I'm saying maybe because we're still on the leading edge of this. I want to look at a lot of other data, but regardless, if there is not one on the ground at the moment, I want everyone to treat it as such that there is, all right? Harrodsburg to Perryville to Pottsville, up toward the Dixville community. Everybody in this zone needs to be lowest floor of your home, away from windows, until we give you the all clear on this, all right? I know people are out getting ready for the morning drive. Some school districts are still in session, and today is the final day of school for some. So here's what we need to go through, all right? If somebody still may be asleep because it's 6:53 in the morning here, give them a call, wake them up. If their phone hasn't gone off and alerted them, call the home phone, call the cell phone. Anybody in Boyle and Mercer counties needs to go, wake up, get to that lowest floor of your home. If it's a basement, absolutely your best place to be. If you don't have a basement, which a lot of us don't, first floor of your home, interior rooms, okay? When we were surveying storms and helping with the cleanup process in London, some of the homes that were still left standing, center rooms, the closets, the bathrooms were the safest place to be. And we're definitely seeing that CC drop here. But I want to go back here and look one more time inside at our relative and storm relative velocity. Right in that zone is where that's lining up, okay? So we're watching still that area of pretty strong rotation, this couplet right on top of the Deep Creek Road area. So that goes all the way into the Deep Creek community, which is right here on the western portion of Mercer County. That will keep working east towards Stewart. All right, over toward, looks like White Road, Hayes Maze Road, Springfield Road. These are all roads that this potential tornado will be tracking across, all right? Martin Lane, Battlefield Road, New Dixville Road, the Dixville community, all right? Watching this move eastbound. Let me just give you a loop on this again, because I just want to show you how this has trended. And I also want to look back at when I was showing you the debris signature a moment ago on the radar. That gives us a good look at how things have evolved. All right, look how the intensity of this rotation really strengthened as it was going through eastern Washington, and now is on really where the three counties come together, Washington, Mercer, and Boyle County, right there on the county line. Let me go into, I was mentioning the debris detector. This was a great tool for us when we were tracking the tornado that was on the ground in Somerset, okay, and London back a couple of weeks ago. You see how we're beginning to get a bit of a drop here. Let me give you, all right, here's the latest information from the Weather Service, and this is just exactly what I was looking at with the CC drop on here. There is now an observed tornado. We have a tornado on the ground. Let me read this information to you from the National Weather Service. Just came in, okay, looking at the same stuff that I am. Source radar indicated rotation. I think they updated the text on that because it says observed. Stand by on that as I continue to get in this information from the National Weather Service. Bottom line still, everyone right there in southern Mercer, northern parts of Boyle County needs to be interior room, away from windows, until this, again, potential tornado continues to work its way off to the east this morning. It's right there on the county line where all three come together. Approaching Dixville, that's going to be a smaller community. Let me zoom zoom back in, Deep Creek, Dixville, Nevada, Perryville. This is all moving eastbound. Let me put a track on here because I just want to give people as much time as we can as this works its way off to the east. We don't even have any storm trackers that are coming up. It's just the type of setup, honestly, that we're in today. Let me see how fast the movement of this storm is going. All right. Tornado warning still continues here. This was the last update just a couple of minutes ago. It is moving east at 35. So I'm going to put a track on the front edge of this. All right, moving eastbound at 35 miles per hour, east really of northeast. So it's not moving fast at all. These are some of the communities in here. Perryville 701, Harrodsburg 713, Danville at 717, and Bergen at 719. All right, let me go back to our normal standard view of the inside the storm of the velocity picture. I've definitely seen a decrease in intensity just a bit on the velocity picture of the couplet. We still have gate shear where both of those colors, opposite winds, are right next to each other here, but definitely a decrease in intensity in the short order. But everyone, this is riding right along the Mercer and Boyle County line. I mean, if we've got a tornado, it's right here, and it'd be riding due east, and then it would eventually cross US 68 that goes between Perryville and up to Harrodsburg, okay? Right there, 68. It'd be crossing that. So anybody between Perryville and Harrodsburg, if you live between those two zones, down lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from windows, okay? I'm just going to read this off again because we keep getting new information here about this particular storm from the National Weather Service. At 6:55, a confirmed tornado was located, which is what I was mentioning a minute ago, 10 miles southwest of Harrodsburg and moving east at 35. And that's what I was looking at a moment ago on the debris detector, that we did have a confirmed tornado. And they're likely basing that, again, right here on what we were showing you. See this drop in CC? Right there on the county line here. This, I'll just highlight it for you. This is where we're seeing a bit of a drop, okay? And it may not be as intense where we're getting those shades of blue dropping. Well, what the radar is looking at, the radar is scanning and it finds and it's looking for precipitation. When it finds something that's not a uniform signature, like a raindrop or a hailstone like that, it gives it, it says, okay, this is foreign. It's something of a different shape, a different size, and that's how the color on the debris detectors start to drop down. All right, we've actually seen less of that showing up. Does that mean that the tornado is no longer on the ground? I'm not going to say that yet because these can cycle and we can get that to strengthen and weaken. But again, National Weather Service still saying confirmed tornado was just off to the west and southwest. Harrodsburg's up here, okay, just behind our banner there. But Dixville, Nevada, Perryville, but really right in this zone. If there's still a tornado on the ground, this is where it's going to be. All right, it's going to keep working east. Down the line would definitely take it over toward the Faulkner community. Here's Bergen and here's Harrodsburg. This is close enough, all right? It's to the southwest view, but even though they've not drawn this polygon to extend both of those communities, Bergen and Harrodsburg here in Mercer County, it still is going to be close enough as this may start drifting more east-northeast that you as well, Harrodsburg and Bergen, need to be in your safe spot. All right, now what about Danville here? All right, you are on the western kind of edge of where they initially issued this, okay? Back to the west is still where it's located, and it is moving east at about 35. So as it continues this track, all right, it could clip still the northern parts of Danville, all right? The farther south, Junction City, this is going to miss you, all right? And this is going to come very close to Perryville, but the center of the circulation is likely just to the north. And we're starting to see things become on the radar velocity picture. The winds is what we're looking at, becoming a little more ragged, not nearly as tight as it was just a moment ago. Literally within the last 5 to 10 minutes, we had some tighter circulation that was right on the Mercer, Boyle, and also into the Washington County line. This has got a little weaker, but I'm still definitely not giving it all clear by that. Definitely definitely stay hunkered down until this passes by. So the latest update on the scan here definitely shows that area of rotation. It's more broad, but it would be here, all right? So right there near Dixville and Perryville. Anywhere in between needs to be in your safe location. Nevada, all the way over eventually. This is likely going to keep tracking along the county line. So it's hugging Mercer and Boyle County lines. Farther, wider view, I want to kind of do a quick little reset here and show you elsewhere. We are not talking about anything of concern in terms of severe weather at all. Yes, there is heavier rain that's working into the bluegrass in many areas this morning, obviously reducing visibility and creating some ponding of water on the roadways out there. But the storm of concern, and it's isolated, definitely very isolated, is this one here that is passing just to the north of Perryville right now. And it's not that typical with the setup that we're in today. It's not your typical signature that you're going to look at on the normal reflectivity precipitation view. You're not seeing that hook. It's not very evident, okay? If we still have a tornado, it would be rain wrapped in rain, so you're not going to see that. It's definitely more broad than it was. I want to go back and look again inside the storm here at the CC. Still a little bit of a drop here, okay, but not like it was. And let me show you what I'm talking about. In the last few frames, this is going to go back. I want to take us back over the last just 15 minutes because a lot has changed in 15 minutes. See how we had that bit of a drop in the CC, our debris detector. See that yellow spikes up and then we get some green that starts to show up right there along the county line. And as it's gone east, we've started to lose that just a bit. Today is one of those setups with a low pressure overhead. That low pressure creates spin, okay? And that's just enough that we've seen some spin that it could spin up a brief tornado as it works its way east. And that was what we've been looking at. First, this same cell was back over toward Hart County earlier this morning, about an hour and a half ago. And as it kept working east, it's been fluctuating. It's intensified a bit and then it's weakened and it's had a little bit more rotation. And other times it's kind of become more ragged. This is really, really weakening out, but still everyone in this zone for now, I want people to stay hunkered down here between Perryville and Harrodsburg. So right there, I've been calling out Dixville community, the Nevada community, moving east along the county line. If we still have a tornado, it would be right here, running across US 68 right now, okay? But it would definitely be rain wrapped if there still is one. Let me look here back at a couple of other products, all right? First, this is only obviously showing just mainly rain, but still we have some gustier winds that are kind of on the leading edge here. Still not a clear indication there, but again, that's why there's a number of things we can look at. A bit of a spike again here into Perryville, but it's not really lining up a whole lot. Let me go back. It's not lining up a ton with what we have in terms of where our velocity is showing up. So that could be a bit of a false echo. Regardless, Perryville to Dixville to Nevada, even into Harrodsburg and Bergen, I want you down interior room away from windows until this storm is out of here, all right? Most of us are just dealing with heavier rain this morning, and this is continuing to show some signs of weakening, but as long as we at least see some broad rotation and they've got the warning in place, we're going to stay with it. There's a new scan, and you can still see exactly what I'm talking about, how that is still becoming more broad there at Bergen here at about 720. All right, so obviously some smaller communities in between there, but boy, that is really ragged. I think if there was a tornado on the ground, which we saw a drop in the debris signature, and the Weather Service said that it was confirmed based on radar and a debris drop. I'm reading new information here. Bear with me for just a second. We stay in contact with the National Weather Service, and so they're giving us updates constantly about what they're seeing and what we're seeing as well. And also in a National Weather Service chat is what we call it, is where we're going to find updates from storm reports. So now it's back to being radar indicated, because with the last few scans, we've seen obviously a drop in intensity and the velocity, meaning the winds inside the storm. Definitely not the tight couplet that we had when it was coming out of Washington County into western parts of Mercer and Boyle County. So that is really weakened out, and I wouldn't be shocked here in just a moment if they do not allow this to expire. It's set to expire in 7 minutes from now. So Washington County, you're clear of the warning, okay? It's done there, all right? It's dropped off. You can see they've trimmed that back. Reading here, let's see, it's 7, tornado warning remains in effect until 7:15. It's 7:03, so a couple minutes ago. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located 7 miles southwest of Harrodsburg and moving east to 35 right here. So we've gone from observed, according to the National Weather Service, to obviously a capability of producing a tornado. Clearly a difference, because we've seen a drop in intensity. We've seen a drop in the winds that are next to each other. We've seen that couplet really kind of fade to hardly any rotation, but definitely more broad, if you want to say anything's left there. But again, could this cycle? Yes, it could. It could spin back up again. They're going to keep this going for really less than 10 minutes. So we're talking under 10 minutes, and we'll see if they extend this warning out east. Beyond that tight area that we were looking at earlier, this storm does not have a lot of severe winds on the northern side of it, or even away from this zone that we're watching. It's more heavy rain and flashes of some lightning. We even have the lightning turned on right now, and nothing is even showing up, okay? So that's just an indication that we're just, as a whole, mainly looking at some rain. Look in the last couple of scans here. I want to show you how we went. There it was. Look how intense it was back to the west when the Weather Service said that it was confirmed, okay? Back right there on the county line. As we've gone east, watch how it's lifted off to the east-northeast, and it's just evolved to where we are right now. All right, and that would be here. It's actually taken, because of that low pressure, it's taken more of an east-northeast jog. So that's why I said for people in Harrodsburg and Bergen to still be hunkered down. If there's a tornado left, it would be right here. Nevada crossing 68 into Mercer County, okay? To the south of that into Boyle County, there is not a chance for rotation down toward Davis Hill, even down to Danville, okay? It would be well north of here. Perryville, it is past you. If there is a tornado left, all right, it would be right here. So not nearly as intense of an area of rotation as what we had just a minute ago. Let me clear that off on our reposition here. The radar, and we'll do another little storm track on the front edge of this. So if we have a tornado, it would be right in this zone here and going more east-northeast at 35. So that is going to clip, obviously, parts of Harrodsburg. There's some gusty winds that are coming in there right now, actually, kind of on the northern flank of this. Bergen, it would be there at about 7:23. Let me clear that off and show you the new scan that we just got back to the west. I mean, this is even more kind of ragged. There are some pixels of red and greens next to each other right along 68. So I wouldn't be shocked if they really start to trim out parts of Boyle County out of this. This is Perryville Road here. Also 68 as we go from Perryville all the way up into Harrodsburg there to the north. So still watching at least some very weak broad rotation. So stay away from windows, interior room, lowest floor of your home until we see at least even weaker signs that this is going to continue to fall apart. Let's hope that that trend continues and that we're not looking at this going on. This is, I'm telling you, this is not going to be a day where we're talking about widespread severe weather impacting everybody. It's just not. It's just not. We just don't have that set up. But again, if even one person is impacted by this, it's definitely worth watching. Absolutely, because everybody, we're watching out for everybody in our viewing area. Let me go back to storm relative velocity again. All right, definitely not anything that super strong by any means. That warning goes till 7:15. It's 7:11 right now. They're going to expire that. Let me see. Let me read here from the National Weather Service if they are planning to extend this farther eastbound. Bear with me as I'm reading this. It looks like, again, the front, there's a warm front that's draped across the area this morning with this low pressure, okay? And it's spinning east. And this one cell alone is trying to ride right along that front. Still very broad rotation here. But if there's anything left, if we have a tornado, it just crossed US 68, so Perryville Road just crossed there. The Nevada community is going to continue to work its way east, going to come very close to Harrodsburg and also very close to Bergen. So I want everybody in those zones to be down center, away from windows, okay? Keep getting some enhancements. They're seeing what I'm seeing too, that we go through phases here where it weakens and then it strengthens again. And that last update from them came about 5-10 minutes ago. So let me look. They've canceled, obviously, the part, as we told you earlier, that was back in Washington County. All right, so what we have left for a couple more minutes to see if they extend this, and likely at this point, they would have likely extended it already if we were looking at this being intense enough that it would be super impactful to areas downstream. We'll see if they continue, but in this zone here, we got 2 more minutes. If there's a tornado, it's going to be here. So until they expire that, we'll stay with this, obviously, and continue to give you updates. There's the Nevada community. Here's Dixville. It's just kept riding right along and just north now of the county line. So we're talking in Mercer County. This would go and eventually cross over 127 that runs out of Harrodsburg south and toward Danville there. And if anyone lives, obviously, in both of these counties, Boyle, Mercer counties, you know those roads very well. Again, to the south, this area of rotation is basically out of Boyle County. Perryville, you're clear, okay? You can come out of your safe place in Perryville. Danville, this is going to pass well to the northwest of you. So you can also rest easy right now. Let me zoom back in. Davis Hill, all these areas, you can rest easy. Looking into back to Mercer County here. Here's Harrodsburg, here's Stringtown, here's Bergen off to the east. I mean, there is hardly anything left here. They're likely going to allow this to expire because this has weakened considerably over the last, really, 15 minutes. Yes, there is some weak rotation, likely some gustier winds on the front edge of this storm. Let me show you what the normal radar view looks like. Definitely heavy rain going into Harrodsburg and Stringtown right now. If there were any tornadic activity left or a tornado, it would be on this southern flank here where we have a little bit of a void into some of the heaviest precipitation. If we look back, see that? A little bit of red and a little bit of green. This is nothing like it was earlier. So we've got 1 more minute, and I think they're going to allow this to expire because they, like me, have seen the very similar signs that this storm has weakened over time. Now, could it intensify as it moves east? It could. It could intensify as it goes back over into portions of Jessamine and Garrett County. But right there, as we've hit 7:15, they have allowed that to expire. But before I go back over to news, before we go over to the desk, I just want to show you the radar, okay? Because other areas are definitely being impacted, and you're being impacted by rain, okay? And hardly any lightning. Yes, there are strikes to the south and some storms, but none of these are severe. It was just this one lone cell with the low pressure spinning. It just gave enough spin that we saw maybe, and the Weather Service was saying that we have had for a brief period an observed tornado that was back just off to the west of Perryville earlier, but now it is weakened, and it does not look impressive at all, and they've allowed the warning to expire. So we'll watch this, guys. We'll send it over to you for news, and I'll be back with a full look at the forecast coming up in just really a couple of minutes.
Railbird, and coming up in the next hour, I'll tell you how the Lexington Police Department is planning for such a big event and how it might affect your weekend plans. But Justin, what is the forecast going to look like for festival goers who attend Railbird this weekend?
Now your forecast from Fox 56 News, the weather authority.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to see some improvements as we go into the weekend, definitely compared to what we're dealing with across the state this morning. This is this soggy morning commute we've been talking about for the last several days. And here's the radar. As you see, look at this. A new tornado warning just issued. All right, remember I was telling you how this storm could flex and then weaken. It is one little cell along here all by itself just east of Harrodsburg now that just keeps fluctuating in intensity. It weakens and then it strengthens again. There's a brief little increase in the intensity right here, just off to the east of Harrodsburg and Bergen. All right, let me give you the information, the warning information from the Weather Service. This includes Garrett County. It also includes Mercer County until 7:45 this morning. Look at the new scan here. See how we get the brighter shades of greens moving toward the radar. Right? That's winds toward the radar. Reds are colors or raindrops that are being moved away from the radar, right next to each other. A tightening up there. So Shakertown, Wilmore, Nicholasville, Vineyard, Hanley, Hall communities. There's High Bridge. So we're talking about this would be crossing eventually the Kentucky River. All right, so this is Dix Drive, Shakertown Road, Hogue Lane. Off to the east here, this would be going over toward Polly's Bend Road, Fitch Lane. Down the line would be going toward Danville Road, okay? So I'm just giving you some very small communities where we're watching this rotation. All right, let me look back inside the storm again. I want to look at a couple of other products because we've seen this kind of flexing. Nothing really stands out on the debris detector yet, all right? Doesn't mean that that couldn't change. Let's hope it doesn't. We don't want to see anything tornadic at all, but we have rotation that could spin up a tornado in Mercer County, and then it includes the northern tip of Garrett County. All right, so let me widen out so I can give you a little bit clearer perspective. It's east of Harrodsburg. You're not in this, all right? It is east of town. It includes Nicholasville. It does not include Lancaster. It does include Garrett County, but it's a northern, I mean the more northernmost point of Garrett County is included in this. And then so is Nicholasville to Wilmore and south in Jessamine County. All right, so we're obviously getting closer and closer to more and more people heading out the door to go to work out there this morning. Or if schools are wrapping up their last day, I know a lot are finishing up or have finished up this week, and some are still finishing up today. We've got a potential tornado on the ground and heading east-northeast toward High Bridge, toward Hanley, and going to come very close to the Hall community. So it's tracking like this, and I'm going to put a track on here. It's going more really east of northeast and taking a track just like that. So Hall, Hanley, Little Hickman, you're in this tornado warning, and so it's pink community. We're talking about communities that are way out here into Jessamine County, some small rural areas that you're included in this because it's been going anywhere from more easterly to more east-northeast, all right? So anywhere in this polygon, everybody needs to be into an interior room away from windows until this passes on by. Let me go back to the standard radar view here for you, and we're looking. The problem with this is when I go back to the normal reflectivity, this is what we call this, inside that zone there, it's heavy rain. So do not try to go outside and see and look, oh, is there a tornado coming? This isn't like the event down in Somerset and London. It's not. We had a rain-free zone in that. We could see that tornado because it was not rain-wrapped, all right? This, if, and I'm saying if, there is a tornado here, it would be rain-wrapped, and you would not be able to see it because this is some very heavy rain coming out of eastern Mercer and over into Jessamine County right now, okay? So let me go back to the normal velocity picture so we can see what the winds are doing right here. Bergen, you are on the edge of that warning, but you're included here. Let me reposition the radar. Let me give you some roads. There it is, tightening up again. So flexing in intensity and then weakening, and then flexing in and weakening. So we're right on top of Shakertown Road here, all right? So Shakertown is here. It is close enough by Shakertown Village, Handy Road, Hogue Lane. We're now over into Curdsville Road area. Here's the Kentucky River and the county line here, okay? So this squiggly dark or black line, that is the county line that separates Mercer County and Garrett County. High Bridge here, we're over into Jessamine County, okay? So right there where the three counties come together, anybody Shakertown, High Bridge, east, even as far north as Wilmore, and as far north of Nicholasville needs to be obviously interior room, as many walls between you and the outside portion of your home. I go over this all the time when I'm at school visits, okay? If some of your kids maybe are at home and they're already out of school today and summer has already started, they need to give them a call and just go over those plans that we talk about. Lowest floor of your home, a basement. If you don't have that, it's that first floor, okay? You want to get as low to the ground as you can. Under something in the center of the home, a bathroom. If those bathrooms have windows, don't go there, all right? That means that it is an exterior wall because there's a window in it. Don't go there. Go into a hallway, a closet, a room without windows on that first floor. Now, when you're in there, all right, in that interior room, you want to put on a helmet if you have it, all right? Your kids may have a sports helmet. They may have a bike helmet. You may have one of those as well. Put that on because that will give extra protection to our head, all right? And our brain inside our head. We want to protect that most above anything else, all right? There's that latest scan. You saw how it just really dropped, all right? We went from a couplet to hardly much rotation. That's just the environment that we're in today. This is not a widespread event for everyone. This is an event where there's a low pressure that's crossing the state, and we're kind of getting pulsing of this thunderstorm just enough. That low is just churning the winds just enough that we occasionally get some spin, and a tornado could spin up quickly. Now, this is not going to last all day either. This severe threat is mainly this morning as we're on the front edge of the low. When that low moves east, the afternoon variety of storms and showers that I don't expect severe weather out of that, all right? Right now, if we have a tornado left, if there is one on the ground, it's now crossing the Kentucky River, or it's on the Kentucky River right there, and then working its way as we go off into portions of Jessamine County. Stand by for just a second. I'm going to switch over and look at a couple other things. All right, so here's the wide view. Most of us are waking up this morning to just rain, all right, and nothing else but just rain. And maybe some gustier winds, but primarily it's rain and maybe some flashes of lightning occasionally. Let me take you back. See how this is drifting more east-northeast. Let me go and look at the storm relative velocity. So this is the winds inside the storm. Look how we went from, all right, look at that, tighter circulation. It was just north of Bergen. Then that spawned the warning again. There was another scan, still showed circulation that was crossing Shakertown Road. Then now, what do we got? Hardly anything, all right? This storm has kind of pulsed in intensity, and then it's weakened again. So it could happen. We could see this re-intensify and spike up again. So this storm is likely cycling, and it could continue. If there's any rotation, all right, look at that, hardly anything. I mean, we don't even have 1 pixel of red, which is where winds would be going in opposite directions next to where we have a lot of green, all right? So, I mean, there is literally nothing left there on the least velocity picture. Let me clear off my drawing there and go back inside the storm, and I'm going to show you. Again, we showed you how this has been trending over time. There's not a debris signature showing up. That's good. All right. Let me go back and look back at the standard other products here. Very weak rotation if anything's left. But again, I just showed you how it's stepped through time, how just north of Bergen is what initiated it, then it's moved east. So if there's any rotation, which I just showed you, is hardly anything left in the latest scan there. Let me go back and I'll show what I'm talking about, all right? So the warnings are on, and if I turn that off, that can show you hardly any red, if any, at all, okay? So we have a lot of green, which is uniform winds more so that are going toward the radar, but no real standout colors next to that are going away from the radar inside. Let me see, they may allow this to expire early. The expiration time here is at 7:45, so that would be 14 more minutes on that particular warning. All right, so obviously this go round, this was just radar indicated. The one earlier on the same cell, when it was back coming out of Washington County, it was a little bit more intense, and there was a period where it was observed, okay? Back as that storm went through Washington County near Mackville, there was reports of thunderstorm wind damage, report of 2 homes damaged. And there was a debris signature on the radar at that point. That was Washington County, okay? Where we're at now, there is not a confirmed tornado, but Wilmore, heavy rain, likely gusty winds. Some gustier winds in Nicholasville and heavier rain there. The lightning is on, and there is none inside of this storm here. All right, let me go back to your standard radar view, okay? Heavy rain right here in Wilmore, all right? Heavy rain I just mentioned in Nicholasville, but we are looking inside the storm to try to find, hey, what are the winds doing? And again, as we keep getting new scans here, this is just, there literally is, no, at this standard time, at this radar scan, there is absolutely 0 rotation showing on the radar, okay? Could it spin up in between these cycles? It could, because we've seen this storm back in Washington County at its strongest, then it weakened, then it intensified again as it was going through Mercer County. Now, if I'm searching and trying my best to find anything that could lead to maybe another brief spin up, if there would be anything, it's going to be crossing over into Jessamine County. Some gustier winds here and heavier rain, but I am not seeing anything that, to me, stands out at all that there is a tornado on the ground even. All right, so that's some good news, but I want to watch this. Let me go back. I want to do our future radar. So it's going to flip over to the normal reflectivity version. We're going to advance this for 2 hours. So that storm keeps racing more off to the east-northeast, all right? And then over time here, we just replace that with some more rain. And yes, that's going to be impactful still, but once we get this one cell that just keeps working its way east-northeast, then we're going to get some more just where it's rain. On the backside of the low pressure, you're not going to get as much spin that would likely lead to a severe threat. So let me stop the loop here and go back to our current radar at the present time, and we'll look back inside the storm. Again, because the storm has been cycling, all right, all morning as we've seen it. Gusty winds coming into Wilmore right now, okay? Heavier rain there, and that'll be coming into Nicholasville because the heavier rain, this one little lone storm cell is working its way northeast, east-northeast into the Nicholasville area. All right, let me go back to the normal radar view one more time. You would look at this and on a normal day, and you'd say, this just looks like a normal thunderstorm cell or a round of some heavier rain, because there's not on radar with this particular setup we're in, there is not a hook, okay, on the southern fringe of this. There's not a notch even showing up in there at all. In our setup with this today, you're not going to get that clear indication if we would. A little bit of green next to red, but I mean, boy, that is that broad. But it would be coming right now. If there's anything left, it would be near Wilmore. I still really think that's just more gusty winds than anything. And yeah, it could be gusting. Let's see how strong some of these pixels are showing up on the front edge of this, 26 miles an hour, all right? But that is winds that are going opposite directions. If I just look at the normal velocity picture, bear with me as we go through this, all right? It's just not super intense at the moment. Let me get my phone here and read from the National Weather Service chat on this. I think they're probably going to allow this to expire if they have not already allowed it to expire. They're still keeping it going, still some broad rotation that is now, as I just mentioned a moment ago, just close here to Wilmore. So right in there. If there is anything left that could spin up, it would be on top of Wilmore now, and it would be nudging and working its way toward Nicholasville. And they may have, if they extend this, they're probably going to have to draw this a little farther north to Polygon, because it's honestly almost at the northern extent, on the northern edge of this. All right, so let me draw this out. A storm track on the front edge of this here for you. East-northeast at still 35. So it's not moving all that fast, all right? If there's a tornado, it would be right here, and it would be working its way northeast at 35. So that would put it like Wilmore. Heavy rain right now, gusty winds for sure, maybe a tornado. 742, if that rotation tightens and if it continues any at all, keep in mind this is very, very broad and weak compared to what it was. That would be over to Nicholasville at 742. So at 737 now, so we're just talking a few minutes from now. Athens area, or the Athens area, we're talking about at 802, Athens. So we're down in the southern part of Fayette County at that point. So that's given us a little less than 30 minutes from now. You can see they've trimmed back the warning. They've shortened that box up just a bit, but they're likely going to continue it until 7:45. And the reason they're likely doing this is because we've seen how the storm has gone through periods where it's strengthened and it's weakened over really the entire length of it. Let me just step you back, all right, because this is just going to show us how this storm has evolved since it's been back to the west. Let me just give you a loop, all right? I'm going to take this back over time. This is not now. This is earlier this morning. Look how it really tightened up here as we were back into 6:49 time frame, okay? This was back as it was working its way out of Mercer County, and then it was working its way back into now into Nicholasville. All right, let me show you. This is a loop. Look how the circulation has weakened. It's flared up again, and then it's weakened. So look how intense it was back to the west. This is what we call gate-to-gate shear there, and then it kept moving east, and you just see how ragged it is at its current point. They're likely going to keep that warning till it expires at 7:45 just to see and let everybody know in case if it cycles again. It's been going through cycles where it weakens and it strengthens. Let me stop the radar and take us to the current point because I want to let you see where it's at right now. If there's anything rotation left, and it is weak, but there is some broad rotation here. It's just west of Nicholasville, all right? It's between Wilmore and Nicholasville. It's in the Jessamine community, okay? Shun Pike, South Main Street into Nicholasville. So this is broad, all right, and it's weak, but could a weak, brief spin-up tornado happen? It could. So everyone still anywhere from Nicholasville to Wilmore and areas in between, you need to be interior room away from windows until this passes, all right? So where will it go after that? Yes, they've not extended the warning, which means that they too, the National Weather Service, they're the ones that issue these warnings for us. They're not confident enough that this storm is going to stay strong enough and have enough rotation that they would need to extend it east just yet, okay? So here's the Fayette County line. Here's the Athens area, southern, more rural tip of our county. If this continues its track off to the east-northeast, it's coming to Nicholasville, then it would work its way into the southern tip of Fayette County, and then from there, if it keeps holding, it would go from northern Madison over into southern parts of Clark County. That's way down the line. But if we have a tornado, it's right here in the Jessamine community, and honestly, now when we get our new scan, it's probably going to be right on top of Nicholasville. All right, let me look back. Now, earlier, we were looking inside the storm, and I was talking about that we could see a clear sign on the radar that there was some debris, all right? I'm not seeing that now. That's good, all right? That means that at this particular point, we do not have any debris, which means that the chances that there is a tornado on the ground are lower. But what the radar is seeing, I want to explain this to people, why warnings are issued, okay? They're either issued from a storm, a tornado being confirmed, or they're issued by radar indication, all right? Well, right now, this is a radar indicated storm. What can happen is, so the radar sees just off the ground that there is circulation, the storm is spinning. Okay, and so that's the phase we're in right now. And they issue it because at any point you could get a tornado that touches down out of that quickly with little time. That's why they issue these warnings, to give you lead time. So do we likely have a tornado on the ground at that time? Looking at the data that I have available, likely not. Could one touch down? Yes. So we have to treat this and still seek shelter until that threat is completely over. Into Nicholasville, everybody there, as I mentioned, needs to be interior room. And we heard earlier, and Tyler was sharing this with me, that the storm sirens were going off. That's good. But again, those are outdoor warning. Remember, it's going to be loud because of heavy rain. So that's going to be hard to hear those, because those are for people that are outdoors. If you're at a park, if you're out walking around and going into stores and shops, that's meant if you're outside to hear it. Because it's raining so heavily right now, if there were a tornado, you're not going to hear it because the sound's going to be obstructed by likely some heavier rain. That's why we depend on radar warnings that come out from our phones and that we give you through the weather app or right here on the TV side of things, or your weather radios. And those weather radios are going off in Nicholasville. They're going off back into Wilmore and Jessamine. All right, back here to the north, heavy rain toward Nealton, the Keene area, Dixon Town, Brannon. This is up at Brannon Crossing here. The warning, the rotation is south of there, all right? So if we have a tornado left, it's going to be right here. And in the latest scan, you can see it's dropped off to more again, more where we're looking at some just more gustier winds, very broad rotation left. So we could still have a tornado. If it is, it's coming into Nicholasville as we speak. Let me get my phone again here so I can read some information from you. The National Weather Service looks like that they are going to, let me read this. Hold on just a second. So they're continuing this. The rotation has really weakened again, as I just mentioned. Still a bit here just west of Nicholasville, but if there's anything left, it would be there, like coming into town as we speak. All right, let's see, from the National Weather Service here, they're not receiving any reports. All right, nothing is in here, no new updates, so that's good. They're not saying if they're going to extend that or not. All right, so we'll stay with it, obviously, until the threat completely is over. We're here for you to keep you and your family safe, okay? Let me look back at the normal radar. This thing is just very ragged right now, all right? This is just mainly heavy rain. Could definitely have some gustier winds coming into Nicholasville right now, but seriously, when I'm looking inside of this is very, very broad, all right? Let me look here at our shear in the last hour. You can even see in the last hour how that track has tried to come into Nicholasville here, but the shear has really dropped off, the rotation. This is where we're at right now. Again, you can see the brighter shades of the green, so those are an area of gustier winds coming into the west side of Nicholasville. Let me switch over, okay, and show you, yeah, still a little bit of red, still a little bit of green next to each other. So if there's a tornado, it could spin up right here in this zone. As we look a little deeper into some of our other products that we show you, still not seeing anything showing on the debris detector. But if we have a tornado, it would be coming into Nicholasville right now. So everyone there, tune in, turn up the volume on your TV so you can still listen to us and listen to what we're saying. Because I don't want you to stay in front of your TV, because your TV is likely not in your closet or your bathroom or in your basement in the lowest floor, all right, in many cases. So turn up the TV or stream us on the Fox 56 weather app or on our website at fox56news.com, and we will walk you through what's happening as this storm continues to work its way eastbound, all right? So look back at the radar. Let's look back at the storm relative velocity here. I mean, there still just is not a ton there, but if there is, this is going to be where it's at, still approaching Nicholasville. We've not got an updated scan in a few minutes here. Let me make sure we're at our current frame here. No lapse. Let me go back to normal velocity. All right, so I'll switch radars too, because I want you to see, we're just looking at this from as many vantage points as we have, and it expired because we're now at 7:45. So right as I thought, guys, again, the storm has weakened, and it's just kind of gone through phases of weakening, strengthening, weakening, strength. Could it do it again? It could. Where is it going next? From Nicholasville down into the southern part of Fayette County, and this one cell all by itself has had some rotation. It just would keep going through Clark County, then through Montgomery. But I mean, again, that's more than an hour out. So the warning's expired again. It's expired. So Connor, do you want me to toss over to news? Okay, all right. Well, guys, right now we can take a breath and we can come out of our safe places in Nicholasville and even in Wilmore. Back to the west, it's cleared out in Harrodsburg too, so those people that are concerned there. Now, could we still have some gustier winds still in Nicholasville? Possibly. Heavy rain, yes. Not even any lightning showing up with that. Heavy rain Lexington, heavy rain in a lot of spots, but no other areas right now in our viewing area are showing any concerns of winds that may be spinning. That's good. All right, I'll head over to the news desk. I'll be back in just a few more minutes for a full forecast for what we're expecting the rest of the day.
Justin, thank you for your hard work. And we're already hearing reports out of Washington County that there has been some damage reported from these storms and potential tornado in the area. So if you see damage, send them in to us, but also please do that safely. All right, let's get to some top news headlines across the state this morning. Taking a look at recovery efforts across the Bluegrass from this month's tornado out in London and Somerset. While the decision is not in stone, the costs associated with cleanup from the deadly storm and even possibly April's flooding could require lawmakers to return to Frankfort for a special session.